Another challenge for Myanmar is, of course, related to the officially 135 different ethnical groups, and there is still conflicts with some of them. The last years, there has been a lot of focus on the situation in the Rakhine state, and this is a question that you also get very often. And I think last year you committed to also repatriate 1 million people that fled from the Rakhine state to Bangladesh. What is the timetable for this repatriation?
Well, the first repatriation was supposed to have started on the 23rd of January, but at that time Bangladesh said they were not ready yet. Mm. So because we signed an MOU on the 23rd of November in 2018, so that was in 2017. And so, but that was when it was supposed to have started. So it's, as there are two countries involved, we can't alone decide when the repatriation has to begin, because they have to come back from Bangladesh. We cannot go and fetch them from Bangladesh, and we have to accept them at the border in line with the agreements in the Memorandum of Understanding.
So how do you feel about this situation with the Muslim minority that has fled to Bangladesh, Rohingyas or Muslim minority? Do you feel that the military in Myanmar has handled this well, or would you have, in hindsight, seen this handled in a different way? Because there has been a lot of international focus, and also the UN has come out with pretty strong statements on this.
Well, yes, I know there has been a lot of international focus, but when you say, how did the military handle it, I think perhaps I was thinking of the military aspect of the operations, because, of course, the political aspect is something for which the government has to take responsibility. Mm. And as I like to say from time to time, although we only have 75% of the power, we have to accept 100% of the responsibility. That's what elected government is all about. There are, of course, ways in which we, with hindsight, might think that the situation could have been handled better. But we believe that for the sake of long-term stability and security, we have to be fair to all sides. The rule of law must apply to everybody. We cannot choose and pick whom should be protected by the rule of law. And I have to keep repeating, because very few are interested in that aspect of the situation, that in the Rakhine there are many small groups, ethnic groups, and religious groups, and they're not just the Muslims and the Rakhines, as seems to be the perception of much of the world. For example, we have very small ethnic groups which are fast disappearing, but nobody seems to be interested in them, and yet they are the ones who could disappear altogether, because some are now down to 4 figures. And for the government, we have to be fair to all of them, even if the rest of the world is not interested in the smaller groups. We have to make them feel and understand that they will be treated on an equal basis, and that their rights and their security matter as much to us as that of the Rakhines and the Muslims, which are the big groups, and of whose presence and whose problems the whole world is aware. So this is, if you like, this is part of the responsibilities of duly elected government. Some people, a democratic government is never elected by 100% of the voters, but you have a responsibility to all, even the ones that did not vote for you.
So, but when the Rakhine state is a big state, it's a big area, but also as a humanitarian and as a human being, if you look at the burned buildings and the situation for children and women following what has happened there, I think it also touches you as a human being, this thing.
Well, this is the very reason why one of the first things that my government did when we took up the responsibilities of administration was to organize a central committee for development and rule of law in the Rakhine. And this is well before the first terrorist attacks, which launched the latest round of problems. When we asked Dr. Kofi Annan to form a commission to help us with this, again, nothing had taken place. The terrorist attacks had not occurred, and the problems had not arisen. But we saw from then that we needed to do something to ensure that there would be sustainable peace and prosperity in the Rakhine. We were very aware of that, and this is what we started to do immediately. But then, after the first terrorist attacks in October 2016, then some of our plans had to be postponed because we had to deal with the immediate problems that had arisen.